All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to a special video. So today, a developer commentary has dropped, and apparently there's a lot of interesting information, and I sort of skimmed through the video a little bit, but I didn't watch it fully, and there's going to be some new changes going forward, and I kind of wanted to talk about that and just give my perspective from a person who's been playing the game since it came out on NA, so that's like, what, 8 years now? And just to give you an idea of what's happening, we'll talk about that as well. So yeah, let's just watch it and see what happens.
Everyone, I'm Game Design Executive Lead.
Oh, that sounds like Endlave, the community manager for the EU. Very cool. Doing voiceovers, very cool. All right.
At Black Desert Studio, Jesok Jang. Finally, the hot summer has passed, and autumn is here. This summer was especially long and hot, which was tiring at times. Now that it's autumn, the fresh breeze blew in a change of mood. I wish all adventurers are having a wonderful day as each day passes. In today's commentary, we have the long-awaited Dosa Awakening prepared for you.
Next week, boys.
In the global lab, many have been anticipating his arrival. We've worked hard on development, and finally are able to present him to our adventurers. We've prepared the Dosa's background and combat clips. We hope you look forward to it. And it'd be a shame.
I'm actually pretty excited for Dosa Awakening next week. I don't know how much I'll be playing it, but I'll definitely be trying it out and seeing what it's all about. But anyway, there's Node Wars, equipment, and new accessories, and like the Awakening and new grind zones. But let's get right to it and let's talk about this. Let's hear about the Node War changes, because that one's very important to a lot of us.
The first news is about Node Wars. Since the new Node War was applied, many adventurers have sent us feedback. Among them, quite a few,
myself included,
seem to miss the previous version of Node Wars. The current Node Wars allow anyone to participate easily, with simple rules. And even if everyone isn't the strongest, any individual can have a chance to conquer a node. Plus, wars tend to move quicker and discourages snipe guilds. On the other hand, as it's
yeah, that's currently how it is, though, right now on NA and EU, at least. There are people that just place for sticks to get the rewards at the end, and there's actually, like, no PvP. So I kind of like the old system. It required more, like, coordination and strategy versus the way it is now. It's just, oh, defend your base. And I get that it's a lot easier, and I think for newer players, that's a lot better to just get into it. But at the same time, like, there's a lot of different modes for PvP in this game. We have like Arena of Solaire, small groups, we have Battle Arena for like people who are just doing 1v1s in practice, and then we have obviously the Node Wars, which is the large big scale PvP, which I think should be more open to like everything and not just defending a tower kind of thing. So yeah, there's just like a lot of different things for everyone, whether you do like RBF or whatever. And I just think that Node Wars is like the most important, like the core of PvP that everyone will do. And I think that should just be more open scale, whereas there's a lot of stuff for smaller and whatnot as well.
Depending heavily on who last hits, the gameplay of Node Wars has shifted from feeling strategy and skill-based to be more luck-based. Therefore, the fun factor available in the previous version of Node Wars for certain adventurers, where they could make a play for the win, seems to be missed. To address this, internally we've tested adding strategic elements to the current version of Node Wars.
Oh yeah?
However, this brought back the issue of being complicated and difficult again. Therefore, instead of changing the current Node War rules, we're trying out a new approach. Now, the victorious guild in the Unlimited Stats Conquest War can select the Node War rules for their territory themselves. For example, if Medea is currently a Conquest War territory with no stat limits, the guild that conquers Medea can directly select the next week's Node War rules. They can choose the rule of building forts like before, where shifting between offense and defense for a more strategic approach towards victory is required, or they can opt for the rule where a neutral fort is present that can be taken and defended or stolen. I did say weak, but once the rules are confirmed by the Lord's Guild, these rules will be applied in the Node Wars from Sunday to Friday, then reset on Saturday. However,
I actually think that's a cool idea. Like, it'll allow more people to be competitive, and I think that's a good thing. However, what might actually happen is, you know how alliances are a thing? We all know in every server, there's like the top 3 guilds or something. Or it's either there's going to be one that's like no cap or whatever, and then one that might be just like one of each mode, which I think is good. However, I think for more competitive gameplay, they should just remove the alliance system, and that way like more guilds will have the opportunity to actually go for what they want. Because right now, I don't think any guild, well, maybe like 1 or 2 actually reach the cap of players, and then everyone else is just like, you know, not. So there's something they're gonna have to do about like the player count and like the reward system, but I hear they'll like talk about that in the future.
For Node Wars in Balanos and Serendia, since many participants there are still adapting or learning the ropes, they will not be affected by this change and only have the revamped rules available. We do not think of this as the perfect solution. However, the experience and teamwork adventurers have built over the years in Node Wars are truly valuable.
Yeah, that guild doesn't even have a guild
forcing
picture.
We decided this approach was better. Development for this change has already been underway, as this does in fact mean there will be 2 Node Wars happening simultaneously. To minimize issues, optimization.
You remember when they tried to do like regional sieges and it just lagged so hard that they had to cancel it? I've always given my feedback on how they could better optimize like Node Wars and sieges. You know how you have to go to the one server to PvP whenever that happens. That's been in the game forever. That's how it is. I think when PvP or Node War starts, if you are not yesed up, like, you know, in your guild for like PvP, they should just remove all those people and then send them, or like people should go to like, you know, every other channel that's not a PvP one. They already removed all the monsters during PvP hours or whenever the region is under Node War and stuff. But like, I think one thing they could do is if you are AFK on a one channel during like Node War and Siege time, you should either just get disconnected, sent back to the login screen, or just move out of that channel if you're not yesed up. That would actually help it, but who knows?
Is required. However, that work takes quite a lot of time. It might take about 2 more months from now. As it is a massive
2 months of Pearl Abyss time is like 3 years.
Show us their understanding. We'll focus on preparing it thoroughly to deliver a smoother gameplay experience after the patch. This doesn't mean that we won't be working on other parts during this time. Other major and minor patches based on your feedback will be applied as soon as we're done developing them. We plan on patching Node War rotations, fort location adjustments, etc. to keep on improving Node Wars. Next, let's talk about equipment items. Before we get started, I'd like to talk about what many are curious to hear, the development and intent behind the Sovereign weapons. While developing the Sovereign weapon, we had one major focus in mind:
audience retention.
Slumbering Origin defense gear and Deboreka accessories. Naturally, as Black Desert's best grade items, they were key deciding factors in setting the difficulty on this weapon's crafting.
Okay, so let's talk about this. I've said this, everyone has said this, but it's like, no matter what MMO you play or RPG, the go-to standard is just more damage, just higher AP, and people will build that. it's kind of like a rock paper scissors game, you know, back when there's like AP versus evasion versus accuracy versus all that stuff, and then people actually built differently. The hard truth is that right now AP is just the meta, and most people will build that. And I don't necessarily think that gear itself is the biggest factor. It's more class balance over anything. Obviously, more gear helps you, but it's like a multiplier versus, like, you know, your class. And we all know some classes are better and can perform a lot better with lower gear than some classes can with like capped out gear. It's just the way it is, but you know, this is a step in the right direction. So let's see.
Looking back, we've been very cautious about adding new equipment. There was a need to protect the value of existing items and to minimize the burden.
Yo, why are they showing screenshots of like the gear UI from like 2017? You guys remember that? I remember this one. Remember Renown Score? I remember Renown Score. Newer players won't. It's a good thing. It's like they restructured that. That used to be the old UI, and I think if you watch some of my older videos, it'll look exactly like that.
That comes with new items, and we still strive to hold this direction to some extent even now. However, over time, the value and perception of these items changed. The two items mentioned, especially the Karazad Accessories, felt quite different from other accessories.
Yeah, they have more AP.
Many
good.
adventurers currently probably associate Karazad Accessories
oh my god, I've been there. That's me.
Difficulty and frustration. In the past, items like the Ogre Ring, Ring of Crescent Guardian, and Tungrad set were hard to enhance up to pen, but they were not as difficult as the Karazad Accessories.
You all see Biohack enhanced back in the day? Dude was printing money.
The enhancement difficulty is high. Even we, the developers of the game, felt the same way. However, until now, we prioritize direction over emotions, believing that the hard-earned items of our adventurers needed to uphold their high value.
Okay, so as a person who actually plays this game, there's a difference. If you look at other MMOs, obviously the high tier items come from like dungeons and raids and endgame stuff. In this game, the way it is really just RNG or buying it off the market. The problem is, I don't think the difficulty is the problem. I think it's boring grinding circles for literally hundreds of hours to buy a 3 AP upgrade. That's just straight up how it is. That's how I feel as a veteran player as well. So, like, if there were more things to do in this game, that would be like, here, even if you got like 2 billion silver an hour, but it was doing something I really enjoyed doing, it wouldn't feel as bad. I would like, you could keep the price of the high-end items the same, like as normally. I just think there needs to be more activities in the game to like make it fun. Because like after playing this game for many years, guess what? Like grinding circles is not so fun, like straight up. So yeah, I just hope there's more activities in the future. Even if it gave like similar amounts of silver. If I'm having fun doing it, I feel like the time doesn't feel as bad. So that's just how I feel about that. But I know some people enjoy grinding, but maybe just add some other stuff as well.
This is why we maintained the high difficulty. Yet, if this continued as is, the joy of progression and novelty could eventually whittle out. So we've attempted to address it.
Most people don't like grinding.
Over the years.
It is what it is.
Familiar with the added artifacts and lightstones that can be used to enhance your setups. In the same vein, we introduced rare crystals and utilized the upgrade system with the addition of cups.
I do think these are actually a good addition to the game. One thing I would say is as time progresses, add more artifacts and lightstone slots. I know you could buy them and there's still a cap, but you can only have 10 presets for artifacts, and as time goes on, I think you should add more of them, especially because life skills are a thing, and that takes up like 5 of those slots. And then for every or like for anyone who does multiple things like life skilling, PvE, and PvP, 10 is not enough. So yeah, just maybe increase that cap. As for crystals and reform stones, that's fine. Like, maybe just add new ones in the future, like they do for crystals, but reform stones, maybe just add a few new ones with new stats in the future, more than just AP and HP or defensives, like maybe accuracy or Black Spirit Rage, like stats that are already in the game. I know it's a little bit tricky balancing defensives, but more maybe utility stats, like like Black Spirit Rage, or movement speed or something, or resistance or something like that. But anyway, that's just what I would like to see.
Most of all, adventurers showed support for our endeavors. We believed adventurers understood the direction we were headed. We reminisced the moments when adventurers cheered for our new pursuits.
That was a few years ago.
Gave us the courage to continue in this direction. But even after all this, Karazad Accessories' influence on the game grew as time went by.
Turns out, bigger number means better, more AP.
It was all right. But as more adventurers became stronger, it became a present reality for many.
If they played the game, they would know this.
Now, more adventurers are feeling frustrated. While
you know why people are feeling frustrated? Because going from like Tet Debo to Pen Debo is like over about like 100, 200 hours of grinding. And, once again, that we talked about before, if I could do something else that's fun for 100 or 200 hours, guarantee you people would not be complaining. It's not the difficulty that's hard. It's grinding circles and hours for hundreds of hours that's tedious.
Karazad isn't the only reason for all of their frustration, but we believe it has significantly impacted them in a negative way. So
grinding is boring.
Change was necessary. That's why the sovereign weapon needed to be something special. And above all, its first impression was important, a new top-tier weapon. Following previous updates, people expect it to be harder, saying it'll definitely be harder than Slumbering Origin Gear and Deboreka. How difficult
it is harder. The sovereign weapons are harder to upgrade.
Surprise everyone and overturn those expectations, making them say, "What's this? Why is it so easy? That was easier than expected." We hoped adventurers.
Who's saying sovereign weapon upgrading is easy? It's how many hours do you grind? It's not difficulty.
Found it easier than they thought. Of course, easy is relative. For a top-tier item, it was relatively easy. This is what we were aiming for. The reason was clear. Sovereign weapon is...
Wait, also, I wanted to make one point that if you are at sovereign weapons already, or if you have like one weapon, you're at the end game. That's how it is. Like, the sovereign weapon is not a beginner weapon, and a lot of people have always asked me, is it better to get one over like having 2 black stars? And the answer is no. You should get 2 black stars and then work on sovereign later, because the upgrade process is very expensive. So yeah, if you have a sovereign, I would consider you at the end game already.
The top grade item. We believe it sets the standard for the difficulty of future top grade equipment updates. We believed this weapon could set that standard. For these reasons, the sovereign weapon enhancement is split into 10 levels instead of 5.
I think that's a good thing overall.
The initial growth curve. While the number of required cronstones can still be a burden, we've minimized it based on the current monster zone's net profit. It was challenging to pin down and advocate these cronstone numbers, but we all agreed that future direction is more important. Through this process, the sovereign weapon's current spec was finalized. However, we made a big mistake. At the last ball, we said we'd limit enhancement materials so that everyone can grow at a steady pace. But when the Day
1, we've seen people with double deck weapons. That's like if you've been grinding for a few years and you already were at cap years ago, you're capped already. Guarantee it.
Date went live, materials were too easily obtainable. So, if you had the currency...
Okay, so let me talk about this in terms of my experience. Do they give a lot of materials? You get about 8 per world boss that appears, and then you get more from doing the weekly like Black Shrine boss, and you can also buy them from the Night Vendor as well as on the Central Market. So yes, is there a lot of upgrade materials on the market? Yes. The reason why is because once you are at a certain point, it takes a lot of cron stones. The upgrade material itself is not the problem. It's like the amount of cron stones you need, which I don't think that's like a problem at all. It's just how you obtain the silver is the problem.
You could enhance all the way to the end. We sincerely apologize for this to all our adventurers. Truly, we are very sorry.
Caught.
This was such a big mistake that any explanation could feel like an excuse. But if we're to be honest about this, the specs were easier compared to what we initially planned, so we thought it would be much better if adventurers didn't get too stressed out on gathering materials. In the end, we focused too much on the positive side. Every word we say gives anticipation for the game, and also gives reason to why adventurers play the game. We took this factor a bit too lightly. If the specs changed, we should have explained our intentions like today, but we didn't. I want to apologize once again. We'll be sure to not let this happen again. Next time, we'll review more thoroughly and approach more carefully.
That's
now
cap.
Let's move on from sovereign weapons. I'd like to talk about the main topic of today. It's about Deboreka accessories.
Oh boy.
Many are expressing concerns about the decreasing value of Deboreka accessories and other...
Yeah, when you put like 8 spots that drop Debo rings and those limbo tokens like all over, the deckiest spots have all the accessories already, and you keep making Ash Forest and Olins instead of, you know, making new grind spots across the board, yeah, that's the problem. You know, like you have all these grind spots, but they're like, I'm gonna make Dekia Ash Forest for the 3rd time. So that's wild. Why? Literally no one knows, but that's how it is. But yeah, it's just the Debo grind is not fun. I'm gonna be honest, as a person who has made pens myself.
Accessories after the release of Sovereign Weapon. This situation was intensified by adventurers shifting from trying to get Deboreka accessories to Sovereign Weapons. If you look at the data from Korea, 57% of owned sovereign weapons are pen or higher.
I could believe that. That's me.
And nearly 7% are oct or higher. In short,
those are the 1%.
Have already accomplished pen, and quite a few are challenging to get oct.
When you have a 5% enhance rate after pen, it really comes down to who's luckier than others. That's just straight up how it is.
If we look at the current situation, sovereign weapons are helping adventurers break through.
Wait, hold on. Let me see this. So 5% of people have unenhanced ones. That's kind of weird because, like, when I made my video of me getting my sovereign weapons, the first thing I wanted to do was upgrade it. So where did they get that number? I don't know. So when I looked at the enhancement charts in the patch notes was it weeks ago or something? I think up to try, the enhance rate success is not that bad. So I would have thought that most people would stay at like try or tet, which that's how it is. But like, I'm surprised more people have pen. And after pen is where things like really fall off. You've seen my videos. I have 20 fails on pen right now. And I have like 0 motivation to keep going. But yeah, I think the reason why people got pen and just like stop there is simply because when you get from 0 to pen, you get a glow on the weapon. And then at oct, you get a brighter glow on it. So like there's 2 stages of how your weapon looks, which is important. Nuve and Deck are literally like 3,600 or 3,000 cronstones or something similar at like a 1% enhance rate from what I've seen. It's not good, and the pity for that one is like 100 or 200 attempts. That's a lot, actually, so it's kind of wild. I think most people, if you stay at Oct, chances are that's where you're going to be at for a while.
Growth barriers. But over time, things may revert to the original state we were in. So, before it's too late, we aim to ease Deboreka like sovereign weapons. In this context, we've prepared a new accessory. It's called Karazad Accessories. Like the sovereign weapons, Karazad is purple grade. Its main feature is that it follows gear enhancement rules, not
So one thing that I've noticed over time is they kind of want to make like the higher end gear not sellable, which I think that's okay because like, you know, like you have to earn your gears, and that's always how it's been in this game. So like you've never been able to directly trade from person to person. You've always had to like earn your silver to either buy it or make it yourself, which I actually really liked. Compared to other games where I can get like end game gear in the first week just by, you know, knowing someone. So yeah, I think that's good that items are like the high end gear is not sellable on the market. The downside is there are people that like to play the game like, you know, for the thrill of enhancing for profit and everything, myself included. That I thought that was fun, but that kind of takes away the purpose of it. And, you know, I see both sides of it, but overall, I think I'm leaning towards more it's a good thing that higher end gear cannot be sold on the market. And yeah, so I see both sides, but it is what it is.
Accessory rules. When Cronstone enhancement fails, its level doesn't drop.
That's
Even
huge.
when not using Cronstones, it only loses a level, and it's not destroyed to match.
Yeah, just Cronstone everything. We're all trained to Cronstone high end gear anyway. Don't just slam high end gear without enhancing. Just cron it. Trust me when I say it's worth it, no matter what the price is for most things. So, unless you're quitting, chances are Cronstones are the way.
Its purple grade, it has 10 enhancement levels, not 5. Now, you might be curious about the crafting method, stats, and difficulty. Crafting method is divided into two main types. The first makes use of existing items. When you melt yellow-grade pen accessories, excluding Deboreka,
Start saving your Rift Boss gear, boys.
you can get an item called Essence of Dawn. Collect these materials to craft Karazad Accessories. Essence of Dawn isn't only obtainable through pen accessories. We've made it drop in certain monster zones as well. The second method involves using Deboreka accessories. I'll come back to this crafting method again shortly. Next, regarding stats, as shown here based on the rings, unenhanced Karazad starts with lower AP, but it increases with higher enhancement levels. At Tet, it matches Pen Crescent, and at Pen, it matches Tet Deboreka. At level 8 or Oct, it has the same AP as Pen Deboreka.
Am I the only one that actually likes the pictures, even though you can't see it like on your character itself? Like, you know how the Deboreka necklace has some sort of icon picture like this? I actually kind of like how they look, actually. They look unique, but then this one just looks like a generic ring. The same thing as like one of those ruby rings that you can find in-game, but gold. So yeah, I just like the unique pictures that they have with it. But I guess these are the new weapons and accessories.
The overall difficulty, including enhancement rates, is designed to feel similar to sovereign weapons. Reaching Pen is a bit easier, and achieving Oct, which has the same stats as Pen Deboreka, is also set to be slightly easier when compared to Pen Deboreka. However, for the final levels, Nov and Deck, the difficulty is higher, leaving them as an area of challenge. Compared
I think
to
that's fine.
Accessories, accessories, fewer cronstones are needed. So, please note that Karazad Accessories cannot be registered on the central market. Some of you may have started to wonder what happens to Deboreka now. Many of you have worked hard to create Pen Deboreka accessories. So,
worked hard. By that you mean people slamming Jay's hammers that you got for free and one-tapping it is hard. Not mine though, I failed. I think nowadays actually getting a pen debo is not too bad. Like, it's still difficult, but like it's more reasonable because you can actually buy it off the market, and or it is like bases if you're self-crafting, and yeah, I think it's easier and not too bad nowadays.
So, we wanted to ensure that their values are fully recognized. For enhanced Deboreka accessories, they can be converted into enhanced Karazad accessories.
Let's go.
Accessories can be converted to Pen Karazad of the same stats. Based on stats, Pen Deboreka accessories should be
I got
converted
pens.
to Karazad accessories. But it falls a little short in terms of value. So, we've decided for them to be converted to Nov Karazad.
The only Novs I'll get are the ones that I can already have. Let's go. For all of you who have pens, time to start grinding again. Unfortunate.
Instead.
Okay, wait, hold up. So it's basically equal, but if you have a pen already, then you want... Oh, okay, so before we do anything crazy when this actually comes out, we're going to have to see the difficulty spike from going from pen to Nov versus just getting a pen Deboreka and then like skipping that whole RNG process. So it might actually still be better to get a pen like right now and then convert later versus taking the TET and taking the TET and converting it to the new accessory and then enhancing it. So I think we're gonna have to wait and see the numbers for that one, but I think it's a good idea overall.
So in short, adventurers with Pen Deboreka accessories will gain +1 AP for each piece after the patch. Those who are now starting can aim to grow their Karazad accessories, which are easier to enhance than Deboreka accessories. Or you can
how much easier? They don't give us numbers right now for a reason. Like, hitting a pen debo on a 300 stack or even a 280 is literally like a 1 in 6. I guarantee most people will be doing more than 6 clicks going from pen to Nov on the new one. So unless it's like literally 1 in 4 for accessories or the new one, we might be concerned about that. So
continue to
it all comes down to the cost.
Or aim to convert them to get enhanced Karazad accessories via the mentioned method. Next, let's talk about diversifying gear. Adventurers have shared a lot of feedback, noting that the supply of more Deboreka accessories has led to the same item setups. As a result,
that's what happens when you add 6 spots that drop like Tungrad rings. Maybe just increase the drop rate versus adding more spots with that, and work on upgrading more new grind spots versus Ash Forest tier 1 and tier 2. Whoever thought that was a good idea, I don't know. I don't think they play the game straight up. Like, how many of you guys have pen Deborekas and you're like, oh, I'm free from Ash Forest, and then suddenly they're like, Dekia, Ash Forest tier 2, back again. That's just like, I don't know. How did they come up with that? There's all these grind spots you could add, and they chose that one.
Unique yellow accessories have decreased in value over time. With that in mind, Karazad accessories were designed so that you can set them in a variety of ways. However, diversifying these combinations may require only...
So reforge crystals like in your weapons, are you gonna be able to do that in your accessories as well? I think that's a good idea. I mean, more diversity is always a good thing. Rock, paper, scissors, AP, accuracy, evasion, DR kind of thing. I think that's always good, but my experience playing MMOs across the board over 20 years is been like, you know, AP, just get more damage, kill things before they kill you, don't die, just don't get hit, kind of thing. You know what I mean? That's across the board.
Several high-value accessories, which can be burdensome. Also, for those who already have high-value accessories with accuracy, it could lead to the fear in having to start farming all over again. We aim to minimize these issues and inconveniences due to this change.
Pause. Is it time to buy 40 bill pen accuracy accessories versus 200 bill Debarekos? If you're watching this now and you're considering it, let's see what they have to say.
Potential problems from a fresh perspective. First of all, Karazad Accessories have a special feature, an exclusive crystal slot that unlocks only when equipped. In the crystal slot, you can transfuse add-on crystals to give your Karazad accessory a special stat. The add-on crystals can be obtained by melting accessories with special stats. For example, melting a Dawn Earring or Toro's Belt provides materials to craft the add-on crystal that gives accuracy. When you transfuse the crystal, the Karazad accessory will turn into an accessory with special stats.
Unless the meta shifts or they actually invest the resources in balancing all classes, if you're an evasion class, you get evasion. If you're DR, you get DR. If you're in between, you probably get Black Spirit Rage and DR. And accuracy is for PvP exclusive.
With decreased displayed AP, but increased accuracy.
Holy, this looks complicated for newer players.
Add-on crystals with stats including Black Spirit's Rage, damage reduction, evasion, and more. These add-on stats can be combined in various ways and will change the stats of Karazad accessories, allowing you to set them in different ways based on your playstyle or class. And these add-on crystals are being prepared to be obtained in various methods, and not just from melting accessories. For example, accuracy pen accessories like Dawn Earring and Toro's Belt can be melted to get the highest grade accuracy add-on crystal. What this means is that you can also loot them from monster zones or from special crafting, and having only the highest grade can be burdensome, so we're preparing lower grade.
So what they're saying is, they just said having the highest grade can be a problem. What? I'm trying to like process this. They're like, having the highest tier of a crystal is a problem. How so? Let's listen.
Versions of the add-on crystals to be used until then. For those who mainly enjoy PvE, the add-on crystals aren't a must. But when enjoying PvP content, there was a burden with...
Alright boys, this guy needs to take off his watch. It's like lens glare in everyone's... But yeah, I think everyone already knows if you know how to use reforged crystals right now in your sovereign weapons, chances are it's the same thing, just more damage or more defensive. How do you play? Get that stat.
Setups. I hope these lower grade crystals can lessen the burden a bit. And please note, these add-on crystals do not shatter. Once this patch is applied, some existing yellow accessories might become rarer. This might mean having to go to low difficulty monster zones again. To prevent this, we'll ensure these enhanced yellow accessories can be obtained in high difficulty monster zones.
Can we melt down our old moon pen accessories that we got for free? Well, not free, but like guaranteed that we all have. If we can do that, easy.
Implement this in various ways to lessen the burden. Additionally, stacks required for enhancement, especially more high stacks, will likely be needed. Currently, materials
Boy,
for
you gotta
upgrades
make more
available in the
300
central
stacks.
market, like crystallized despair, will be changed to be transformable to high stacks. Once everything is prepared.
Hex Sanctuary? Is it back? Elvia Hex? Remember when we were all making like 2 bill an hour there back in the day before? That was during, I think, Dawn Glove era when Morning Light 1 came out. Everyone was saving up to get the gloves on day 1, and myself included. Then it turned out the gloves are the easiest thing to get. Dude, I actually enjoyed Elvia Hex. It's kind of fun. Rare, like, what is it? Those big bosses, the ogre thingy that came out. That was kind of fun. I liked Elvia Hex. Plus the thrill of the crystallized despairs are fun. Now you can turn them into fail stacks.
We'll provide detailed guidance with the patch. To summarize with intent included, let's go over it one last time. Karazad is a new purple grade accessory with the same enhancement system as the sovereign weapons. It cannot be registered on the central market, but we've lowered the enhancement difficulty to ease the burden for those who plan.
Lowered enhancement difficulty from getting it from like a 5%. Now it's a 6%. Let's go. That was a joke, by the way.
However, to maintain as much of the value of Deboreka's accessories as possible, Pen Deboreka accessories can be converted to a better Karazad accessory. Lastly, by converting the existing yellow specialized accessories into a new type of crystal, Karazad accessories were designed to enable a variety of setups. Alright, I've shared everything up to here. I'm curious to hear what our adventurers think. Some of you might be taken aback by this sudden news. Adding new equipment or tweaking the existing balance is a big burden for us.
Honestly, if you're still watching this, a lot of what was talked about is really for the end game players. I will say that if you are a beginner or like this is your first month playing the game, you still have so much to do. You shouldn't even worry about this, and you're probably just enjoying your time. All of this stuff is literally end game.
But even so, at this point, we believe the difficulty of Deboreka accessories needs some easing. We're aiming to release.
Yeah, you know how do you fix that? Before he talks about it, you know how to, they want to make it easier to get pen debos. Raise the enhancement rate, lower the cronstone rate from Tet to pen. I think from base to Tet, the rate is fine itself, but after that, it's a little scuffed.
The new accessories and special crystals introduced today in the last week of October. We'll make sure everything's ready for the update. That's all the news for now, but there's one last thing I'd like to mention. Remember, I mentioned earlier that the materials for crafting the Karazad accessory could be found in certain monster zones. Well, we're preparing new monster zones in the land of the Morning Light.
Yo, there's something to actually do in Morning Light? That's huge.
Of bonus side stories to offer an experience unique from the main continent of Black Desert. There's already plenty of PvE on the main continent, so we questioned whether we needed to offer the same experience in the Morning Light.
They had to think about adding content to the game? Wow, holy. Okay, that should have been there on day 1 of Land in the Morning Light, not 3 years later.
This thought was a major reason behind creating the Black Shrine with a boss battle focus. After the release of the Morning Light, many of you have enjoyed the Black Shrine, but there was still some disappointment over the...
My thoughts on the weekly Black Shrine bosses. I think it's just like, it depends on your class. Like I've seen the leaderboards for every class. You could do just fine on all of them. Some are easier than the others. Let's Wusa Shy, you can clear easy. Dark Knight, a little bit difficult, but overall clearable for everything.
The absence of a new monster zone. Monster zones need more than just item drops. They need memorable monsters and settings. The Land of the Morning Light has many beautiful places, so we think that's why there are more opinions like this. We agree with this point as well, so we've decided to add more content for you to explore in the morning light. With the release of the Karazad Accessories,
The Rhine spots.
Hong Lim Base will be introduced first, followed by Golden Pig Cave and Gowon Plateau.
Okay, first of all, anyone that's ever gone to the Golden Pig Cave right there, like right here, this thingy, yeah, just remove that and make one ramp going up and down. You know how annoying it is going up this every time? Yeah, just stop it. Or, you know, this thing right here, this path, I know exactly where this is. The boss spawns around here, like somewhere around the center. You go in and out from over here. This thing doesn't even lead to anywhere. It's like a dead end. Make this less, you know, make the like stairs wider so people don't just run off, and or just make like one ramp going up straight up. Small complaint.
As new monster zones. These new monster zones in the morning light are the first since Ulukita, and we're eager to spice things up beyond the usual PvE content. Take the Golden Pig Cave for instance. At the entrance stands a giant pig statue. As you battle the monsters within this area, the statue gradually fills.
What is that? What is that spot in going down in Calpheon that looks very similar to this? I think it was like Giants or something. I don't. No one goes there anymore, but I was wondering what it kind of looks similar.
With gold. Once it reaches its limit, it explodes, showering rewards for you to collect. It's like cracking open a piggy bank. We're developing similar field mechanics that add fun without disrupting the combat experience. We're also exploring the addition of other exciting features. Yet, I understand that new monster zones might not be entirely welcome right now, especially since last year we focused on tidying up existing content. We believe there's a greater desire for new content. We understand.
Yes, we want new grind spots, not Ash Forest 2.0 and Olin's. How many people actually grind Olin's? Not because you don't want to, or like don't grind Olin's because you can't get a group. That's like, I like more group stuff in games, but I also understand that Black Desert is mostly a solo game, and like 95% of the time you're doing stuff by yourself. So I understand for some people getting a group is difficult unless you have to go out of your way, like join Olin's discords and all that stuff. And yeah, I think one thing they could add is like a group finder, party finder. Other games have it. Literally just add one. BDO, or yeah, Black Desert also has it for dungeons. Just, you know, add like a listing board or something. Be like, hey, looking for group. Literally other MMOs have solved this problem 20 years ago.
Understand the disappointment adventurers feel, and to address these shortcomings, we'll all work hard on the upcoming updates. Until now, growth goals have been sidelined in favor of expanding content. Along with the item updates introduced today, we're gearing up for content that'll inspire new goals. We haven't been able to talk about this today, but we are working on content like Hardcore Server that adventurers await.
I heard about the Hardcore servers. They talked about it at the last ball, and I like here's the truth. I'm gonna be playing it because it's new content, and I think I'm good enough at the game for hardcore. I don't think it's gonna be like a main thing. I think it's just something we do for like a month and so, and just try it out, and then fun content. Yeah, after that, like I really don't think BDO is a hardcore game. Like, people don't even really enjoy PvP. I enjoy PvP. Majority of people don't. We've seen that over the years. So, yeah, it's one of those things where I think Pearl Abyss saw World of Warcraft, or like adding those hardcore servers that people did for a few months. I truly think that it's mostly for content creators and, you know, like a small fraction of players to have their own little corner. But I don't think it's going to be a long-term helpful thing for the game. I think it'll be cool for a little bit, and then everyone's just like, okay, back to doing whatever you're doing.
waiting for. We appreciate your patience.
Yeah, but I'm convinced they saw World of Warcraft and they're like, we gotta add that.
Let's take a look at Dosa's Awakening.
Boy, Dosa Awakening.
End. How lonely it is.
Hold up, pause. Last time I tried to do music in this game, or like I tried to showcase a thing with music on YouTube, it ain't good. Let me mute this. We'll watch it. Can't have music though. Ooh, that looks pretty cool, actually. So this looks like Striker and Musa. I'm not gonna lie, that looks kind of cool, though. I like both Striker and Musa, so maybe I'll enjoy this one. Yup. Yo, first of all, though, I understand this is like a trailer and cinematic, but turn that screen shake off. Do people actually play with screen shake on? I know 0 content creators, like the full-time ones that are big, screen shake is off. Oh, can't have that music.
Greetings, adventurers. This is Jesse Ju, Game Design Executive Leader at Black Desert Studio. Capturing traditional Korean Do wielders of rain, wind, and lightning such as Hong Gil-dong or John Woo-chi had already been embodied in the game by our very own Wusa and Meigu classes. Thus, we approached Dosa's Awakening differently. We wanted to return to the very basic of Do arts and designed the class around the philosophy of 5 elements. With Succession
Say
Dosa,
mystic.
we focused more on the concepts of umbral and luminous energies of Do, with his Cloud General and warriors inspired by the Dangun myth. By weaving the umbral and luminous, Dosa conjured cloud warriors, while brandishing the larger-than-life Hwando sword into battle. For his Awakening, we narrowed in on the 5 elements. As many of our adventurers had anticipated, we highlighted a more shamanistic aspect of the class. The 5 elements consist of fire, water, wood, metal, and earth. For our Western adventurers, it's somewhat similar yet not entirely to the classical 4 elements. This
Yes,
results
we've all
in
watched
vibrant and
Avatar. I
spectacular
understand.
action and effects unseen before in other classes. For the Awakening Dosa, we sought to incorporate the unique East Asian concept of the generative effect. Whereas the 4 elements focus on the weakness of the elements, the generative effect highlights how the elements augment each other. For example, using a fire elemental skill followed by a
Oh my god, wizards in shambles. I wonder if this is going to be like a high APM spec. Like, Dosa Succession is literally like 3 buttons. But let's see how Awakening plays out.
Skill additionally amplifies the fire energy by using the wood as fuel, resulting in greater fire damage. Similarly, using a water skill followed by a wood skill enhances the wood energy by using water as nourishment, resulting in greater damage. Upon hearing this, the Awakening Dosa might seem complex, but we're working on making the generative effect easy and fun to use in combat. Now, here's an example of his skills and the generative effect. As mentioned, using wood as fuel amplifies fire energy. The skill you're seeing is Fire Spread. After use, a fire mark remains on the field. Think of it as lingering fire energy. Using a wood skill here enhances the lingering fire energy with the wood energy, causing another explosion of immense power.
Lingering damage. Every other class that doesn't have it in shambles for PvP. Oh no.
Here's another example. This skill is Wood Bend that was used earlier. After use, a wood mark is left on the field.
Literally the cooler witch.
Here augments the lingering wood energy with water energy, greatly amplifying its power. Look closely at the mark. You'll see small indicators floating below the main mark. These indicate the generative element to enhance the skill. By paying attention to these, you'll have a blast using the generative effect to your game. The Awakening Dosa adopts a hybrid combat style, mixing melee and ranged attacks. Compared to existing classes, it's similar to Succession Meigu or Awakening Dark Knight. You can control from a distance.
Did they say Awakening Dark Knight? I know Dark Knights. Dark Knights don't have that ability. It's not even close.
Similar.
Let's watch that again.
Floating below the main mark. These indicate the generative element to enhance the skill. By paying attention to these, you'll have a blast using the generative effect to use.
The only skill I could think of that Dark Knight has is Impervious Command, and I don't even think many Dark Knights actually use it. That's the only thing I think of that has a mark, and it's not even that good.
Your game, the Awakening Dosa adopts a hybrid combat style, mixing melee and ranged attacks. Compared to existing classes, it's similar to Succession Meigu or Awakening Dark Knight. You can control from a distance, then quickly close in to exploit openings.
If you're Awakening Dark Knight, you're ranged.
If not, retreat to control from a distance once more. What makes Dosa's Awakening unique to other hybrid classes is his superior gap-closing performance. Even if he fails to exploit an opening, he can stay in melee, engage in a super armor bout. Then,
dude, talk to the NPC. You didn't
retreat to control from a distance once more. The Awakening Dosa can also be played like a melee class, and also offer some support to his allies, like a
I'd be a little bit concerned if Awakening Dosa was at range with melee swords. That's a little weird.
Melee support, he uses the generative effect to boost damage when enemies are close to his allies.
Literally male Dark Knight.
Unlike other support skills from existing classes, he doesn't retreat to heal or provide buffs. Instead, he assists only while directly engaging the enemy in combat. Now, the date you've been waiting for. The Awakening Dosa drops on October 8th.
That's 4 days from now.
With Korea. Soon, you'll meet the Awakening Dosa, who toys with foes using powerful elemental arts. Oh, and the Awakening
you can fly?
Dosa captures the playful essence of the Korean Do wielder. We hope Dosa's antics atop the enemy's head brings some amusement. That's it for today. Thank you.
Alright, I thought that was overall a good thing. I mean, for all of you at Endgame, we're gonna get new accessories. Just use Cron Stones on it. It'll be fine. Unfortunately, they were like, yeah, we're just going to add more grind spots, but we're not going to add any more fun activities. That, I think, literally is the problem. At least for me, I'd rather do stuff, you know, maybe buff life skilling or literally add new game mechanics to the game. I just don't want to grind Ash Forest anymore. Just combine the Dekia Lantern, and you know how the loot scroll, like the level 1, level 2 loot scroll, add something like that and just make it easier to turn on and off. Like, just add something like that, and then you'd be like, you stand next to the Dekia crystal, and then like it comes with a button, just like level 1 or level 2. That literally solves all the problems. So anyway, with that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed my takes on all of this stuff and how a person who actually plays the game would fix a lot of these problems. I think a lot of it is in the right direction. Do I think the node war thing is going to fix the game? They didn't really even tell us too much about it, other than there's a new, like, how it works of castle owners or node owners being able to control how the next war plays out. Is that good? I think that's in the right direction, but that's like a band-aid fix on, you know, something else. If you like large scale, do War of the Roses. I wish that was more than once every 2 weeks, but it is what it is. But for the rest of us, I know that most people are PvEers. You know, I hope you enjoy grinding out new accessories. So that's about it. But with that said, it's been an hour. This video was only 30 minutes, and I like doubled it with commentary. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a fantastic day. Peace.